All right, welcome back everybody. Today we are going to talk about candlesticks. How do they form? What will we look for on the chart? And what are the major patterns that are going to be significant when we're trading? So, first and foremost, we're going to look at what they actually represent. Candles on the chart, they're going to represent various buying and selling that is happening throughout the open and the close of that candle. So each time frame will look different as that candle represents that specific amount of time on the chart. So if you're looking at a daily chart, that one candle will represent one full day of trading. On an hourly chart, it will represent 1 hour of trading. So this will depend on the time frame that you're trading on, but if you're on an hourly chart, it'll be 24 of those candles will represent one full day of trading. However, if you are trading stocks, that will be different because stocks aren't open 24 hours as the forex market is. So that's going to be a little variation between the two markets. All right, so next we're going to look at Candlestick Basics. So what do they represent? What does this green and red candle, how is it composed? So first thing we have is our body of the candle. That's going to be this section right here, the larger section that's going to be colored in. Some people trade green and red. My chart specifically, I trade white as in the green candle and black for the red candle. So my charts are slightly different than what you'll see normally, but this is what you'll see majority of the time. So what does the body represent? So it represents the range between the open and the closing price. So where is the open and the closing price? Well, on a bullish candle, which is going to be this green one right here, we have our open price at the bottom and our closing price at the top. Now, if we're looking at a bearish candle, which is going to be this red one right here, we're going to have the opening at the top, closing at the bottom. You might be looking at this and saying, okay, well, there's another part to this candle. What do those represent? So those are going to be our wicks. So these little sections right here, these represent our highs and lows. So the full range of our trading day. The top is our high and the bottom is our low. So what this means is for this bullish candle right here, we opened our trading day. Let's say this is a daily chart. We opened our trading day here. Likely what happened is sellers brought it down to the low of this wick. Buyers pushed it all the way back up to here. But then before the day closed, sellers were able to bring it just slightly down a bit to close it there. However, because it did finish higher than it opened, it still is a bullish candle and represented buying pressure throughout this day, and buyers were in control. So the next thing we're going to look at is different formations that you're going to see these candles form on the chart, because they're not always going to look like this one right here. However, the first one we're going to look at is this one. So this one here is going to be a large body candle, and you're going to notice on the chart it's going to be larger than your average size candle. A lot of them are going to be smaller, but once you see a large candle, it's going to represent something on the chart, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But these ones here, they're going to have very small wicks, if any, representing that there was full control by either the buyers or the sellers. So these ones here, they're going to have short wicks, like I said, and likely these are going to form during a breakout. So if price was stuck at a certain level for a while and finally broke through, you'll see a big, large impulse. Or once price gets to a certain structure level and it gets rejected from that level, you'll see a lot of either buying or selling pressure. So, like I said, lots of selling and buying volume. So this represents either a bullish or bearish move depending on the color of the candle. The next one we're going to look at is just a small body candle. You'll notice that these are smaller than your average size candle, and they have small wicks as well. And they can form at any point in the chart. So it doesn't matter whether they're at a structure level or not. They can just form at any point. And what it represents is usually just a resting bar. So really not much is happening. There's very limited buying and selling volume going on during that time frame. And the signal for this one is just neutral. I mean, you can trade off of it if you really want to, but it's really not telling you too much. It's just telling you that the market's just kind of consolidating and making a decision. You're going to probably want to wait for the next candle that forms to show you what's actually happening. All right, so the next one we're going to look at is called a hammer candle. So this one, you're going to notice it does kind of represent a hammer. It's going to have a very small body at the top of the candle. And then you're going to notice as well that it has a long wick at the bottom. This is very important when you're trading this candle right here. It has to have that long wick at the bottom. So usually this forms at the bottom of a downtrend, representing that sellers have been in control for a while. But as you can see, buyers are beginning to regain control. So like we talked about before, on this candle right here, let's look at the bearish one. The candle opened here, and because we have this wick, it means sellers were able to push the market all the way down to here. But before this candle closed, buyers were regaining control and pushing it all the way back up to here to where it closed. So it closed a lot closer to where it opened than where it actually went to during this time frame. So this is a bullish signal. You're going to want to trade this at a structure level though, because there are times if it's not at a structure level that this does fail. It's just a single candle. It's not 100% confirmation, and you're going to want to add it to other confirmations, other signals. All right, so our next candle is going to be the same thing we just looked at, except the opposite. So this one here is a shooting star candle. It's going to have a small body at the bottom, a long wick on top this time. Usually this one here forms at the top of an uptrend. So you'll see price moving up for a while, and then finally it gets to a certain point, and you'll see that sellers are starting to regain control again. As we discussed in the last one, buyers were able to bring this all the way up to the top here, but by the end of that trading day, sellers were regaining control and push it all the way down, almost back to the opening price. In this green candle here, you can see it opened at the bottom, pushed all the way to here. Sellers were able to close it here. However, on this one, it opened higher. Buyers brought it a little bit higher throughout that day, but then sellers really took control and pushed it even lower than the opening price. So this one is a slightly better signal than this one. However, they still are a shooting star candle, and this is a bearish signal. So you're going to want to trade this one at structure levels as well. Anything we look at today, you're going to want to add confirmation to them. But these are candles that you'll be looking for, and it will give you a slight edge on your trade. So the next one we're going to look at is called a hanging man candle. And you'll see this one looks a lot similar to the hammer candle with a slight variation to it. The hammer you'll look for at the bottom of a downtrend. This one, we're going to look for it at the top of an uptrend. So what this basically represents is that sellers are beginning to enter back into this market. So as you can see, let's look at the bearish one here. The trading day opened here. Sellers entered in strongly, but buyers tried to buy it back up. They tried. So what this represents is that, you know, at least sellers are here. They're ready to start selling this because they did push it down. Buyers did push it back up a little bit by the close, but sellers they're around. So you're going to want to pay attention to that. So this is a bearish signal, but you will want to wait for confirmation again. All right, next one we're going to look at is the inverted hammer. So again, we're going to have a small body at the bottom, a long wick on top, exact same formation as the shooting star candle, with one slight variation, which is going to be that this one forms at the bottom of a downtrend instead of the uptrend. So you're going to see price moving down for a little while. And then if one of these form at structure level, you're going to see that buyers are beginning to enter again, just like we talked about on that hanging man candle. You can see the long wick on top representing that buyers did push it back up. Sellers attempted to bring it back down again. However, that wick represents that there is pressure at this point in the market. So this one here is a bullish signal. All right, so the next one we're going to look at is the spinning top candle. This one here, you'll notice it has a small body in the center of the candle. So on each side of the candle, you'll see long wicks. And usually they're about even, but sometimes there's a slight variation. However, as long as they're long wicks, this is the type of candle that you are looking at. So this usually forms after a impulse move. You'll see either a move up in the market or a move down in the market. And then you'll see this candle at the bottom or the top of those moves. So basically, this is representing a battle between buyers and sellers. So let's look at the green one here, the bullish candle. Price opened here. Buyers pushed it all the way up. Sellers brought it all the way down. And then buyers brought it back up. Or it could have happened the other way. Open here. Sellers brought it down. Buyers brought it up. Sellers brought it back down. So basically, there was a lot of indecision in the market, which is a neutral signal because really there's no signal here. It's basically telling you that they're not sure whether to push it further down or bring it back up. There was a big battle between buyers and sellers this day. All right, next one we're going to look at is the long-legged doji candle. So this one, very similar to the last one we just looked at. However, you're going to notice the body of this candle, this section right here, is a lot smaller than the last one. So this one here is going to have a very small or no body. Sometimes it will open and close at the same exact price. So this one's a little bit stronger signal than the last one you just looked at, representing that there is a strong battle between buyers and sellers. So you're going to have the long wicks, just like the last one. Usually forms at the top or the bottom of an impulse move, just like our spinning top. And again, the battle between the two. Again, neutral signal. All right, so that's basically all the candles that you're going to see on the chart that are significant. Like I said, you're going to want to add these to other confirmations. My last video, we looked at structure levels, support and resistance. So if you see one of these candles at those levels, now you have two different confirmations, adding to the probability of the move you want to happen to actually happen. All right, so my next video is going to be related to this one here. And we're going to look a little bit further into these actual candles. So on this chart here, you see we have two shooting star candles, which did give us a move down pretty strongly, actually. But we're going to look at what this candle actually looks like, because as you can see here, we're on a daily chart. So what does it actually look like if we drop down a time frame? How did this actually form throughout the trading day? When we break it down into two candles, a 12-hour candle, what did it look like? When we break it down into 8 hours, what did it look like? And then 4 hours. So throughout the trading day, we can get a better idea of what exactly happened and why on the full day did it actually close like this. All right, so that's one thing we're going to look at. The next thing we're going to look at too in that video is going to be multiple candlestick patterns. So these are going to be 2, 3, sometimes 4 different candles all put together that represent something. All right, so that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Have yourself a good day. Take care.